My wife left me to care for her dying ex-boyfriend. I divorced her and spent 3 years rebuilding my life. Then, on a rainy night, she showed up at my door. She wanted me to help raise his child. It was raining. The kind of rain that doesn't just fall, it attacks. Sheets of water pounding against windows, turning streets into rivers, making the whole world feel gray and washed out. I was sitting on my couch, watching some action movie I wasn't really paying attention to, when I heard it. A knock. Not the confident knock of a friend. Not the impatient knock of a delivery driver. A hesitant knock. The kind of knock someone makes when they're not sure they should be there at all. I got up, walked to the door, and opened it. And there she was. My wife. My ex-wife. The woman who'd left me 3 years ago to care for her dying ex-boyfriend. The woman who'd chosen him over me, our marriage over his final months, our future over his past. She looked different. Older. Thinner. Her hair was longer, darker circles under her eyes. She was holding an umbrella that wasn't doing much against the rain. And in her other arm, she was holding a child. A little girl, maybe 2 or 3 years old, with dark curls and big eyes that looked up at me with the kind of curiosity only children have. "Hi, Mike," she said. Her voice was hoarse. Like she'd been crying. Or yelling. Or both. I didn't say anything. I just stood there, holding the door, rain splashing onto the doorstep, waiting for her to say something that made sense. "I need your help," she said. I looked at the child. Then at her. Then at the child again. "Whose kid is that?" I asked. But I already knew. I could see it in the shape of the face, the color of the eyes. The child looked like her. And also like someone else. Someone I'd spent years trying not to think about. She said quietly. He passed away 2 months ago. The cancer finally got him. I've been trying to do it alone, but I can't. I have nowhere else to go. I stared at her. At the child who wasn't mine. At the woman who'd broken my heart. "You want me to raise his child," I said. "I want you to help me raise his child. Please. I know I have no right to ask. I know what I did. But I don't have anyone else." I stood there in the doorway, rain splashing at my feet, looking at the life I used to have standing in front of me, asking for something I never thought I'd be asked to give. By the end of this video, you're going to hear the full story. How we met. How we fell apart. How she chose him over me when he was dying. How I spent 3 years putting myself back together. And what I said when she showed up at my door, in the rain, with another man's child in her arms. Let me take you back. My name is Mike, I'm 36 years old. When I was 27, I met a woman named Claire. She was a friend of a friend, brought to a barbecue by someone I barely knew. I remember the first time I saw her, she was laughing at something someone said, head thrown back, completely unself-conscious. I fell in love before she even knew my name. We dated for 2 years. Good years. Easy years. We talked about everything. We fought about nothing. We fit together in ways I didn't know 2 people could fit. I proposed on a beach at sunset. She said yes before I even finished the question. We got married 6 months later. Small wedding, just family and close friends. She wore a dress that made her look like she was floating. I cried. She cried. Her dad cried. It was perfect. The first few years of marriage were good too. Not perfect, no marriage is perfect, but good. We had our routines. Our inside jokes. Our favorite restaurants and weekend traditions. We talked about having kids someday. About buying a house. About growing old together. I thought I knew what my life was going to look like. I thought I knew who I was going to spend it with. I was wrong. Before me, Claire had been with a guy named Tom. They'd dated for about 4 years in their early 20s. It had been serious, they'd lived together, talked about marriage, the whole thing. But it ended badly. He cheated, she left, and by the time I came around, Tom was just a story. A chapter from her past that was closed. Or so I thought. About 2 years into our marriage, Claire got a message. Tom was sick. Really sick. Cancer. The kind that didn't have a good prognosis. She told me about it one night, sitting on the edge of the bed, holding her phone like it might explode. He reached out, she said. He wants to see me. Just to talk. He says he's been thinking about the past, about how things ended, and he wants to make peace before. She didn't finish the sentence. She didn't have to. I remember feeling something. Not jealousy, exactly. More like unease. A sense that something was shifting, that the ground beneath us wasn't as solid as I'd thought. What do you want to do? I asked. I don't know. Part of me doesn't want to see him. Part of me feels like I owe it to him. To us. To how things ended. He cheated on you. I know. But that was years ago. People change. And he's dying, Mike. He's dying. I wanted to say no. I wanted to tell her that he was her past, that we were her present, that she didn't owe him anything. But I didn't. Because I didn't want to be the jealous husband. The controlling one. The guy who wouldn't let his wife make peace with someone from her past. Okay, I said. If you need to do this, I support you. She kissed me. Thanked me. Told me I was the best husband in the world. I believed her. The first visit was supposed to be an hour. Just coffee. Just closure. She was gone for 6 hours. When she came home, her eyes were red. She'd been crying. A lot. I asked her how it went. She said it was hard. Harder than she expected. He looked terrible, thin, pale, nothing like the person she remembered. They talked about the past. About the cheating. About the years between. About how short life was and how much time they'd wasted being angry at each other. He apologized, she said. Really apologized. For everything. He said he's been carrying guilt for years. He said he never stopped caring about me. I felt a twist in my stomach. What did you say? I told him I forgave him. What else was I supposed to say? He's dying. I nodded. Told her I was proud of her for being brave enough to go. Told her I was glad she had closure. But something felt off. Something I couldn't name. The visits didn't stop after that first one. They became more frequent. Once a week, then twice, then 3 times. Claire would leave in the afternoon and come back late at night. Sometimes I'd be asleep by the time she got home. I asked her about it. Tried to be casual. You've been seeing Tom a lot lately. He doesn't have anyone else, Mike. His family lives across the country. His friends have mostly moved on. I'm all he has. He has nurses. Hospice care. Professionals. It's not the same. He needs someone who knew him before. Someone who remembers who he was. And what about what I need? What about us? She looked at me like I'd said something unreasonable. He's dying, Mike. This isn't about us. This is about compassion. About being a decent human being. I didn't have an answer for that. Because she was right, he was dying. And how could I compete with dying? How could I ask her to choose me over someone who didn't have much time left? So I swallowed my feelings. I told myself it was temporary. I told myself that when he passed, things would go back to normal. But things didn't go back to normal. They got worse. I didn't see it happening. Not at first. But looking back, the signs were everywhere. She started dressing differently when she went to see him. Wearing clothes she used to wear when we were dating. Putting on makeup. Doing her hair. Things she didn't do for me anymore. She talked about him constantly. What he said, what he thought, how he was feeling. His name was in every conversation, every text, every quiet moment between us. She stopped talking to me. Not completely, but the deep conversations, the ones we used to have about our hopes and fears and dreams, those stopped. She was somewhere else, even when she was sitting right next to me. One night, I saw a text on her phone. I wasn't snooping, she'd left it on the kitchen counter, and the screen lit up with a message from him. I don't know what I'd do without you. You're the only good thing in my life right now. I stared at those words. The only good thing. Not one of the good things. The only good thing. I didn't confront her. I told myself I was overreacting. I told myself he was dying, he was emotional, he didn't mean it the way it sounded. But I knew. Deep down, I knew. She was having an emotional affair with her dying ex-boyfriend. And I was letting it happen. The confrontation came about 6 months into this new reality. I couldn't keep swallowing my feelings anymore. They were choking me. Claire, we need to talk. She was getting ready to leave for another visit. Her hair was done. Her makeup was perfect. She was wearing a dress I'd bought her for our anniversary. Can it wait? I told Tom I'd be there by 3. No. It can't wait. She stopped. Looked at me. Something in my face must have told her this was serious, because she sat down on the edge of the bed. What's going on? I feel like I'm losing you. What are you talking about? Tom. The visits. The way you talk about him. The way you look at him. The way you don't look at me anymore. Her face hardened. Mike, he's dying. I'm helping him through the hardest time of his life. How can you make that about you? I'm not making it about me. I'm asking you to look at what's happening to us. You're gone all the time. When you're here, you're distracted. You're not present. You're not my wife anymore, you're his caregiver. He needs me. And I don't? She didn't answer. That silence told me everything I needed to know. I'm not asking you to abandon him, I said. I'm asking you to remember that you have a life here. A husband here. A marriage that's falling apart while you're taking care of someone else. He doesn't have much time left. And what happens when he's gone? What's left for us? She started crying. Not the kind of crying that comes from sadness, the kind that comes from guilt. The kind that comes from knowing you're wrong but not knowing how to stop. I don't know what you want me to say, she whispered. I want you to choose me. I want you to choose us. I want you to remember that you made vows to me. Not to him. She was quiet for a long time. Then she stood up, wiped her eyes, and picked up her purse. I have to go. He's waiting. And she left. Over the next few weeks, things got worse. Claire spent more and more time with Tom. Less and less time at home. When she was home, she was distant. Cold. Like I was a stranger she was forced to share space with. I tried everything. I tried talking. I tried giving her space. I tried being more supportive. I tried being less supportive. Nothing worked. She was already gone. She just hadn't moved out yet. The end came on a Sunday. She came home from another long visit, and I was waiting for her at the kitchen table. We need to decide something, I said. Mike, I'm tired. Can we do this tomorrow? No. We can't. She sat down across from me. She looked exhausted. Worn out. Like someone who'd been carrying a weight too heavy for too long. I love you, I said. I have loved you since the day I met you. But I can't keep doing this. I can't keep being second place to someone else. Even someone who's dying. He's not someone else. He's part of my past. He's someone I loved. Past, I said. Past. Not present. Not future. Past. I'm supposed to be your present. I'm supposed to be your future. But you keep living in the past, and I'm stuck here alone. She started crying again. I don't know how to walk away from him. I'm not asking you to walk away from him. I'm asking you to walk toward me. But you won't. You can't. Because you've already made your choice. What choice? Him. You've chosen him. Every time you leave, every time you put him first, every time you dress up for him and come home to me like I'm furniture, you're choosing him. And I can't keep pretending you're not. She didn't deny it. She didn't argue. She just sat there, crying, looking at the table. I think you should stay with him, I said. Full time. Until the end. And when it's over, if you want to come back, we can talk. But I can't keep living like this. I can't keep being married to someone who's already left. You want me to leave? I want you to choose. But you won't. So I'm choosing for you. I moved out the next week. Found a small apartment across town. Took my clothes, my computer, a few boxes of things that mattered. Left the rest behind. It didn't feel like mine anymore anyway. The divorce took about 6 months. Claire didn't fight it. She signed the papers without argument, without asking for anything. I think she knew she'd already lost me. I think she'd known for a long time. She moved in with Tom during his final months. Became his full-time caregiver. I heard through mutual friends that she never left his side. That she held his hand when he died. That she was the last face he saw. I didn't go to the funeral. I wasn't invited. I wouldn't have gone if I was. I spent those months rebuilding. Therapy. Gym. Friends. Work. Anything to keep my mind off what I'd lost. Off her. Off him. Off the marriage that had crumbled because a ghost from the past had come back to claim her. It was hard. The hardest thing I've ever done. But I did it. Day by day. Week by week. Month by month. I put myself back together. The 3 years between the divorce and that knock on the door were quiet. Not easy, but quiet. I dated a little. Nothing serious. I wasn't ready for serious. I wasn't sure I'd ever be ready again. I focused on work. Got a promotion. Bought a house, a small one, just for me. Started a garden. Got a dog. Built a life that didn't revolve around someone else. I thought about Claire sometimes. Less often as time went on. The sharp pain faded into a dull ache, then into a memory that didn't hurt as much as it used to. I heard she had a baby. Tom's baby. Apparently they'd conceived before he got too sick, before the treatments made it impossible. A little girl. I heard she was raising her alone, that Tom's family wasn't involved, that she was struggling. I felt a twinge of something when I heard that. Not pity, exactly. Not satisfaction. Just, something. A reminder that life goes on for everyone, even the people who broke your heart. I didn't reach out. I didn't check on her. I didn't offer help. She'd made her choice. She'd chosen him. And I'd made mine, to move on. And then came that rainy night. That knock on the door. And there she was, holding his child, asking for my help. I want to be clear about what I felt in that moment. It wasn't anger. It wasn't satisfaction. It wasn't pity. It was something closer to disbelief. Like I was watching a movie that didn't make sense. Like I'd stepped into someone else's life. "Hi, Mike," she said again, because I still hadn't said anything. "Claire. I know this is weird. I know I have no right to be here. But I didn't know where else to go." I looked at the little girl. She was sucking her thumb, looking around, oblivious to the tension crackling between the two adults on the doorstep. "How old is she?" 2.5. "Tom's?" She nodded. "I found out I was pregnant about a month before he died. He never got to meet her." I felt something twist in my chest. Not for me, for them. For the little girl who would never know her father. For the woman who'd loved him enough to have his child even as he was dying. "Why are you here, Claire?" "Because I have nowhere else to go. My family won't talk to me. His family wants nothing to do with her. I've been trying to do it alone, but I can't. I'm drowning, Mike. I don't have money. I don't have help. I don't have anyone. So you came to me. You were the only person who ever loved me unconditionally. You were the only one who ever had my back. I know I threw that away. I know I don't deserve anything from you. But I'm begging you. I need help." I looked at the little girl again. She was looking at me now, those big dark eyes studying my face like she was trying to figure out who I was. "What's her name?" "Lily." "Hi, Lily," I said. She didn't respond. Just kept staring. Claire shifted her weight. The rain was soaking through her coat now. The umbrella was doing almost nothing. "Can we come inside? Just to talk? I'm not asking you to decide anything right now. I'm just asking you to hear me out." I stepped aside. I don't know why. Some part of me that still remembered loving her, I guess. Some part of me that couldn't leave a woman and a child standing in the rain. They came inside. I got them towels. Made tea. Sat across from them in my living room, the one I'd built without her, and listened to her story. She told me everything. About Tom's final months. About the pregnancy. About the birth. About the years since. "It was hard," she said. "Harder than I imagined. Taking care of him, watching him die, knowing I was carrying his child, it was all so much. I didn't have time to grieve. I didn't have time to process. I just had to keep going. When he died, I thought I'd feel relief. Not because I was glad he was gone, but because the hardest part was over. But it wasn't over. It was just beginning." Lily was born 2 months later. She was early, small, had to stay in the NICU for weeks. I sat by her incubator every day, talking to her, telling her about her father. About the man he was before the cancer. About the good years. After we came home, the loneliness hit. I didn't have anyone. My family was ashamed of me. They'd told me not to go back to him, not to leave you, not to throw away my marriage for a dying man. When I didn't listen, they cut me off. Tom's family didn't want anything to do with Lily. She was a reminder of what they'd lost. I've been doing it alone for 2 years. Working from home, watching her, barely sleeping, barely eating. I've sold almost everything I own. I'm behind on rent. I don't know how much longer I can keep this up." She looked at me. Her eyes were red, wet, desperate. "I know I have no right to ask you for anything. I know I chose him. I know I broke your heart. But you were the only person who ever made me feel safe. And I don't know where else to go." I sat there for a long time, not saying anything. Lily had fallen asleep on Claire's lap, her little head resting against her mother's chest. You want me to help you raise Tom's child, I said. I want you to help me. Any way you can. I'm not asking you to be her father. I'm not asking you to pretend. I'm just asking for help. But you are asking me to raise his child. Because that's what helping means. That's what being in your life means. There's no version of this where I help you that doesn't involve me being around her. Being there for her. Maybe even loving her. She didn't deny it. She couldn't. And what about us? I asked. What are you asking for there? She looked down at Lily, then back at me. I don't know. I'm not asking you to take me back. I know I don't deserve that. I need someone. And you're the only someone I've ever trusted. I thought about all of it. The years we'd spent together. The way she'd left. The way I'd rebuilt. The little girl sleeping on her lap, innocent in all of this, caught in a story she didn't ask to be part of. Claire, I need to think. This is a lot. I can't give you an answer tonight. She nodded. I understand. Where are you staying? A motel. About 20 minutes from here. It's not great, but it's something. I wanted to offer her the couch. I wanted to be the good guy, the rescuer, the one who saves the day. But I couldn't. Not yet. Maybe not ever. Let me think, I said. I'll call you tomorrow. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, running through every possible scenario in my head. Option 1, say no. Send her away. Protect the life I'd built. Stay safe. Option 2, say yes. Help her. Be there for her and Lily. Risk getting hurt again. Option 3, help from a distance. Financial support, maybe. But keep my distance emotionally. Stay guarded. None of them felt right. None of them felt wrong. I thought about what I'd been through. The years of feeling second place. The pain of watching her choose someone else. The long, slow process of putting myself back together. I thought about who I was now. The life I'd built. The peace I'd found. I thought about Lily. A little girl who didn't ask for any of this. A little girl who would grow up without a father. A little girl who might need someone to show her that the world wasn't all bad. And I thought about Claire. The woman I'd loved. The woman who'd broken my heart. The woman who was standing in the rain, alone, with nowhere else to go. I didn't have an answer by morning. But I had something close. During that sleepless night, I did some research. Because I needed to know if I was crazy for even considering it. The numbers on widowed parents. About 6% of children in the U.S. have lost a parent by age 18. Widowed mothers are significantly more likely to live in poverty than married mothers. The first year after a spouse's death is the hardest, financially, emotionally, and practically. The numbers on remarriage after widowhood. About 60% of widowed people eventually remarry or enter a new serious relationship. However, relationships that start within the first year of widowhood have significantly lower success rates. Children from previous relationships are a major factor in whether new relationships succeed or fail. The numbers on second chances. About 15% of divorced people get back together with their ex-spouse. Of those who reconcile, about 70% divorce again within 5 years. The most common reason for redivorce? The same problems that caused the first divorce. I wasn't a widower. I was a divorcee. And Claire wasn't a widow, she'd left me before Tom died. But the numbers still gave me something to think about. Second chances were possible, but they rarely worked out. The same patterns, the same problems, the same hurts, they didn't disappear just because time had passed. If I went back to her, would I be signing up for the same pain? Or had we both changed enough to make it different? I didn't know. I couldn't know. And that uncertainty was the hardest part. The next morning, I called Claire. "I've been thinking," I said. "Me too. I'm not going to say yes. And I'm not going to say no. I'm going to say, maybe. But maybe with conditions." "What conditions?" "I'm not going to pretend the past didn't happen. I'm not going to pretend you didn't hurt me. If we do this, if I help you, we need to be honest about what happened. No sweeping it under the rug. Okay. We need to go to therapy. Together. Not because I think we're getting back together, but because we need to figure out what this is. What we are. What we can be to each other without destroying ourselves again. Okay. And I need you to understand that I might not be able to do this. I might try and realize it's too much. I might need to walk away. If that happens, you can't blame me. You can't guilt me. You have to let me go." She was quiet for a long time. When she spoke, her voice was barely a whisper. "I understand. I don't deserve anything from you. Anything you're willing to give is more than I have any right to ask for. Where are you staying?" "The motel. But I can't afford it much longer. Come stay on my couch. Just for a few days. We'll figure out the next step together." She started crying. "Thank you, Mike. I know I don't deserve this." "You don't. But that little girl does. She didn't ask for any of this. She deserves a chance." They came to stay on my couch that afternoon. Lily was awake this time, curious, exploring my living room like it was a new world. She found my dog's toys, my books, She was everywhere at once, a tiny hurricane in a pink dress. Claire was quieter. Watchful. Like she was afraid to take up too much space. Like she was waiting for me to change my mind. The first week was awkward. We tiptoed around each other, careful not to step on old wounds. We talked about logistics, where Lily would sleep, how we'd share the bathroom, what the rules would be. We didn't talk about us. Not yet. Neither of us was ready. I watched her with Lily. The way she cared for her, patient and gentle, even when she was exhausted. The way she sang to her at bedtime, soft lullabies I'd never heard before. The way she looked at her sometimes, like she couldn't believe this tiny person was real. She was a good mother. I hadn't known that about her. In our marriage, we'd talked about having kids, but it had always been a someday thing. Seeing her with Lily, I realized she would have been a good mother to our children too. But we didn't have children. We had this. A little girl who wasn't mine, from a man who wasn't me, with a woman who'd left me for him. Life is strange. About 2 weeks in, we had the conversation we'd been avoiding. We were sitting on the porch, watching Lily play in the yard with the dog. It was a warm evening, the kind that makes you forget the world has problems. "Can I ask you something?" Claire said. "Sure. Do you hate me?" I thought about it. "No. I don't hate you." "How? How can you not hate me? I left you. I chose someone else. I broke our vows. I broke your heart. And now I'm back, asking for your help, living on your couch with his child. How can you not hate me?" I looked at her. Really looked at her. At the lines around her eyes that hadn't been there before. At the weight she was carrying that I couldn't see but could feel. Because hate takes energy I don't have anymore. Because being angry at you was exhausting. Because I spent 3 years putting myself back together, and somewhere in that process, I realized that holding on to anger was like drinking poison and expecting you to die. I hurt you. You did. And I'm not pretending you didn't. But hurting me doesn't make you a monster. It makes you human. Flawed. Broken in your own ways. Just like me. She started crying. Quiet tears, the kind that come from somewhere deep. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm so sorry. For everything. I know. I should have chosen you. I should have stayed. I should have fought for us. But you didn't. I didn't. And now? She looked at Lily, then back at me. Now I don't know what I want. I don't know if I want you back. I don't know if I deserve to want you back. I don't know anything anymore. Then we figure it out together. Slowly. Carefully. No promises. No expectations. Just, figuring it out. She nodded. Wiped her eyes. Watched Lily chase the dog around the yard. Thank you, she said. For giving me a chance I don't deserve. Don't thank me yet. We're not out of the woods. Here's the hard truth I had to accept during those weeks. I still loved her. Some part of me, buried under the hurt and the anger and the years, still loved the woman I'd married. And seeing her again, watching her with Lily, listening to her apologize, that love was waking up. But love wasn't enough. It hadn't been enough before. And it wouldn't be enough now. If we were going to do this, if I was going to be in her life, in Lily's life, we needed more than love. We needed trust. We needed honesty. We needed boundaries. We needed to be different people than we were before. I didn't know if we could be those people. I didn't know if she could stop running when things got hard. I didn't know if I could stop being afraid of being left again. But I knew I wanted to try. Not because I owed her anything. Not because I felt sorry for her. Because I still believed, somewhere deep down, that we could be something good. Something different. Something that worked. It's been about 6 months since that knock on the door. Claire and Lily are still living with me. It's not permanent, we've talked about that, but it's working for now. Claire has a job now. Part-time, remote, something she can do while watching Lily. She's saving money, paying down debt, getting back on her feet. Lily calls me Mike. Not Dad. Not Uncle. Just Mike. And that's fine. I'm not trying to be her father. I'm just trying to be someone stable in her life. Someone she can count on. Claire and I are in therapy. Together and separately. We're talking about what happened, what we want, what we're afraid of. We're not back together, not officially, but we're something. Something that might become more. Or might not. We're not rushing. The other day, Lily fell and scraped her knee. She ran to me, crying, holding up her arms to be picked up. I picked her up. Held her. Told her it was okay. And for a moment, I felt something I hadn't expected to feel. Love. Not the romantic kind. Not the parental kind, exactly. Just, love. For this little girl who wasn't mine, from a man who wasn't her father, in a situation that made no sense. I looked at Claire over Lily's head. She was watching us, tears in her eyes. What? I asked. Nothing, she said. Just, thank you. I didn't say anything. I just held Lily until she stopped crying. This whole experience taught me a lot. About love. About forgiveness. About the difference between being a doormat and being compassionate. Forgiveness isn't forgetting. I haven't forgotten what Claire did. I haven't forgotten the years of pain, the loneliness, the feeling of being second place. But I've stopped letting that pain control me. I've stopped letting it define our relationship. You can love someone and still protect yourself. I love Claire. I probably always will. But I'm not the same person I was before. I have boundaries now. I have a life that doesn't revolve around her. If she leaves again, I'll survive. I know that now. Children are innocent. Lily didn't ask for any of this. She didn't choose to be born to a dying father and a struggling mother. She deserves love and stability, regardless of the mistakes the adults in her life have made. Helping her isn't about Claire. It's about her. Second chances are possible, but they're not guaranteed. Claire and I might make it. We might not. I don't know. But I'm willing to try, because I'd rather try and fail than wonder what if. You can't save someone who doesn't want to be saved. Claire had to want to change. She had to want to get better, to be better, to do the work. I couldn't do it for her. All I could do was create space for her to do it herself. If you're watching this and you're in a similar situation, an ex coming back, a child in the picture, a heart that's been broken, here's what I'd tell you. Take your time. Don't make any decisions in the heat of the moment. You don't have to say yes or no right away. Give yourself space to think, to feel, to figure out what you actually want. Get therapy. Seriously. You can't navigate this alone. A good therapist can help you sort through your feelings, identify your patterns, and make decisions that are healthy for you. Protect yourself. Set boundaries. Have hard conversations. Don't pretend the past didn't happen. If they can't acknowledge what they did, they haven't changed enough. Consider the child. If there's a child involved, they're innocent. They didn't ask for any of this. Whatever you decide about the adult, try to do right by the child. They deserve that. Know your worth. You are not a consolation prize. You are not a backup plan. You are not someone's last resort. If they're coming back because they have nowhere else to go, that's not love, that's desperation. Make sure you're being chosen, not just used. Be okay with walking away. You might try and realize it's not working. You might try and get hurt again. That's okay. That's part of the risk. But don't stay just because you're afraid of being alone. Stay because it's right. And if it's not right, walk away. So, what's the moral of this story? Claire chose her dying ex over me. She left our marriage, broke my heart, and spent his final months by his side. Then she had his child. Then he died. Then she came back, with nowhere else to go, asking me to help raise his daughter. I said maybe. Not yes. Not no. Maybe. We're still figuring it out. Some days are good. Some days are hard. Some days I look at her and feel all the love I ever felt. Some days I look at her and feel nothing. I don't know if we'll make it. I don't know if I'll ever fully trust her again. I don't know if I can be the person she needs me to be, or if she can be the person I need her to be. But I know I'm trying. And she's trying. And Lily is growing up surrounded by people who love her, even if that love is complicated. Sometimes that's enough. Sometimes trying is all you can do. If you're still watching, thank you. Thank you for listening to my story. I know it was long. I know it was heavy. But I think stories like this need to be told, because so many of us are living them. We're the ones who've been left. The ones who've been chosen second. The ones who've had to rebuild after someone we loved walked away. And we're the ones who have to decide, when they come back, whether to open the door. There's no right answer. There's only your answer. Your heart. Your boundaries. Your willingness to try again, knowing you might get hurt again. I opened the door. I don't know if it was the right choice. But it was my choice. And I'm living with it. Whatever you choose, choose it for yourself. Not for them. Not for the child. Not for the ghost of what you used to have. Choose it because it's what you need, what you want, what you believe in. And if you choose to walk away knowing you're not cruel. You're not heartless. You're protecting yourself. And that's okay. You can't pour from an empty cup. You can't save someone else if you're drowning yourself. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do for everyone is to take care of yourself first. Take care of yourselves. And remember, you matter too. If you liked this story and want to hear more real-life relationship stories, click the video on screen right now. Thanks for listening. Take care of yourselves. And remember, you don't have to chase someone who's running away. Sometimes the best thing you can do is stop, turn around, and start running toward yourself.